Hey guys, welcome to CryptoCoach365. It's day 118. Uh, Long day today. I'm in Vegas at my hotel. It's actually the very end of the hotel. Pardon me, I'm tired. There's been a very, very long class. This class was on nonprofits. It's mostly instructional, like how to open a nonprofit, what kind of nonprofits there are. Like there's a nonprofit for black lung, apparently there's a nonprofit for cemeteries, there's a nonprofit for amateur sports. One thing that I noticed on the slides that they didn't really touch on, but that if you have a amateur sports nonprofit, you can't use it for all the business expenses. You can't use the deductions for and buying procurement of the equipment. So usually when I'm thinking amateur sports, like I guess people think like baseball. So like if you have to buy baseballs or bats or gloves, you can't deduct that equipment. But my first thought was actually like, let's say a bunch of rich guys got together and started a amateur sports nonprofit for like what is it called, Le Mans or whatever, like car racing, where they just buy a whole bunch of Ferraris and McLarens and shit and just kind of do amateur sports racing, but that way they can deduct their Ferraris and McLarens or something. I'm not sure that's what that's for, but yeah, that wouldn't be tax deductible. Anyway, like I said, mostly it's how to set it up, and specifically, so when you start making a lot of money in business, it's how to kind of put your money someplace else where you still have control of it and you can use it on things that you want it to be used for, as opposed to it being taxed. You can kind of create a legacy, you can donate to something, you can help improve the world in general, and it's also a way to avoid paying taxes, I guess, in another corporate way. But all in all, it's actually a nonprofit is very similar to a corporation. In fact, it's just a corporation that applies for a nonprofit status, and the difference is that, from what I remember, excuse me, is that employees can still earn an income, but the profits are not distributed to shareholders because there are no shareholders. So all the money stays within the corporation, and it does get taxed, I believe, if the corporation starts earning too much. But anyway, that class ended about 5:10. The rest of the day, my brother and I toured Vegas, the big strip, finally. Vegas is, there's a lot to do. Like, you don't have to gamble, but just without gambling, you can probably spend the whole week here and still not see everything, because there's the northern part of the strip, there's a southern part of the strip, just sightseeing. Then there's actual specific things to see, like the dolphin and the dolphin aquarium, the tiger sanctuary. That's where Siegfried and Roy's tigers are now hanging out. A bunch of art galleries. There's an aquarium. There's the big Ferris wheel. There's a bunch of shows, and there's a southern part of the strip. Then there's the old Vegas. Then there's parts of the old town part of Vegas. Then a day trip that you can take to Grand Canyon and the big dam, the Hoover Dam. Then there's a museum. There's a nuclear museum nearby, because Vegas is built not too far from Area 51, and actually Vegas is where planes take people who work in Area 51 and commute there. They travel from the McLaren airport by plane. So the entire history of nuclear tests and other stuff that happened with Area 51 and other areas. There's a museum for that. There's a pinball museum. There's a mobster museum. So like literally there's a collectible cars museum. So there's a lot to do in here. So like you can easily spend the whole week just seeing all different kinds of parts of Vegas and still not see all of it. But yeah, it's fun. Regarding the cars and stuff, somebody pointed out that my Bitcoin Prius, which I bought for 1,000 Bitcoin at this point, is worth about 33 Lamborghinis, and I was talking about how I don't think buying a Ferrari or a Lamborghini is a good idea because, like, it's not an asset, it's a liability. It's going to cost you thousands of dollars for maintenance. It's going to depreciate in value. It's going to wear out. It's not a practical investment, but people still buy those Lamborghinis and Ferraris and stuff just to kind of, I guess, show off. Excuse me. And somebody pointed out that at this point, the money that I spent on my Prius, which was 1,000 Bitcoin, could have bought me 33 Lamborghinis. And I kind of had a funny thought in my head that it would be kind of impressive if I did instead buy 33 Lamborghinis and 32 of them I kind of set up side by side with kind of like horse type drawn horse harnesses, and the 33rd one would be in the back like a carriage, and they just have like 32 Lamborghinis side by side pulling this one Lamborghini. I'm in it was, I guess, chauffeurs in the front ones, but that would be probably quite an awesome spectacle to watch and would definitely show off every single other Lamborghini Bitcoin owner out there, but whatever. Regarding the general kind of the serious cryptocurrency stuff, though, Bruce Fenton recently, apparently at a recent conference, mentioned that most people don't care about cryptocurrencies, or more specifically, they don't care about the benefits that cryptocurrency provides, sound money and the financial privacy. And that is kind of a reality that we have to be aware of. As like, if you get into cryptocurrency, you understand what it's about. Will understand like this thing is going to change the world. It gives you more sovereignty. It gives you more control of your own money. It's definitely a good investment because there's limited amount of it. It can't be inflated. It's apolitical, meaning it's not influenced by any politics or countries. Excuse me. We did not eat very healthy in Vegas, unfortunately. But anyway, so there are a lot of really, really good benefits to Bitcoin. And if you look into and read up about it, you will probably understand that. But unfortunately, most people don't really care about that. They're more care about the convenience. Like, they don't care that government knows everything they're spending their money on, or banks know that everything money they're being spent on. They don't care about their money being inflated, because it's being inflated usually very little, so they don't notice it. All they notice is that, many, many years down the road, like, how come my salary is not paying me, like, I can't afford to buy stuff with my salary because for whatever reason all prices are going up. It's inflation. Or they don't really do deals with international type of stuff, but they might, those that do might be concerned about things taking too long, or they're being too expensive of fees. But I mean, in general, in first world countries, money works. Eventually, it stops working. Like Greece was a European country. Cyprus is a European country. Their money kind of didn't really start working for a while, mainly because their government debts fell apart. In some worse countries like Turkey, more recently, Venezuela before that, even India a little while ago, like, their money kind of had issues. So I mean, people there realize it, but most people, their money works, so they don't care. But the point is that when you learn about Bitcoin, and a lot of people who are in Bitcoin, they kind of live in a bubble because they think that, I mean, they understand all these awesome things about Bitcoin, but they don't realize that most people just don't care. So the reason this is important is because while we do want the rest of the world to adopt Bitcoin, we really have to keep in mind that while we do like and understand all the benefits that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies bring us, most people are not really going to care much about that. Like even right now, you can explain to them, and the main reason it most people, I believe, buy Bitcoin is because they think it'll go up in value. All they care about is speculation and value. They don't really care about the whole financial safety, financial sovereignty, privacy, and independence from, you know, safety from government, being able to inflate your own money. I mean, unless that actually happens to them. So what that really means is that in order for us to increase Bitcoin adoption, instead of focusing on those kind of benefits, really we need to focus on convenience. And sorry, in part this is kind of what the big Bitcoin BTC and Bitcoin Cash BCH fight is about, is that BTC is focusing on the features and the benefits that Bitcoin provides, such as financial privacy, financial sovereignty, while BCH, Bitcoin Cash, focuses on ease of use. And I believe ease of use is actually a much, much, much more important aspect, and to get people to adopt it. That's actually what my project is going to be mainly focusing on. Like my idea, not like philosophy, my hope is that in order to get people to move on to Bitcoin and have Bitcoin change the world by having all these features be adopted and being readily available, is in order to do that, you have to make it so that people move to Bitcoin for the convenience part of it, with things like it's faster to transact with, it's cheaper to transact with, it's not it works 24/7, including weekends. Like you try to go to your bank or make a transaction on a weekend, it's probably not going to go through until Monday, or even worse, it might be like 3 business days. So you make a transaction on Friday, it's not going to clear until Tuesday of the next week. With Bitcoin, it happens instantly. It's global, so you can pay people anywhere in the world. So right now we're limited to, let's say, Amazon in US, or we're limited to US online stores, whereas if people accepted Bitcoin, you can buy from any store anywhere in the world. And, you know, for commerce, borders will be totally meaningless at that point. So you really need to focus on getting it to where it's more an ease of use kind of thing, not like, you know, if you want to mix your coins and be more private and have more anonymity, that actually requires more steps and more work on behalf of the person doing that. And in order for that to actually become common among everybody else, commonplace, you have to make that be not even the main focus. You have to make just the whole currency extremely easy to use, and then make all of those features basically be default in the background where nobody even knows about it. Sorry, that's kind of like the longer way of saying that my main focus and goal is to make Bitcoin extremely easy to use, or make anonymity and other things so easy to use that they're in the background where you don't even notice that they're there. And that's really probably the only way that we can get the rest of the world to actually adopt Bitcoin. It's just focus on ease of use, focus on making it cheaper and more beneficial and actually competitive to other money, not through features that people don't care about, but the features that people do care about, which is, again, convenience, how easy it is to use, and how cheap it is to use. Like being able to save money really influences people's decisions too. But anyway, it was just a thought that I, like, Bruce Fenton mentioned that I saw in a tweet, and really that resonated with what I was doing or focusing a lot on at when I worked with Mycelium. Like we spent quite a bit of money on mixing services and financial privacy, anonymity privacy services, but we didn't make them so that they're actually visible. We were really pushing to make them kind of in the background by default. And it's also what I'm doing with my next project too. Like I'm not focusing on financial privacy as much because people don't really care about that. Eventually that'll be in the background. What we're really focusing on is just convenience and being able to switch from one currency to the other, and just making it much, much easier to use and get into. So And then once people actually get into it, then all those other benefits of Bitcoin being as sound money will kind of come into play. But anyway, that's it for today. Tomorrow is going to be a very, very, very long day for me, unfortunately. I have a meeting upstairs. We are not in the hotel, actually. This is my vacation club, like timeshare. It's actually not a timeshare, it's a vacation club where you buy points and then use them for different I guess club facilities. Kind of a new version of timeshare, but I have a meeting at 8:30 because I need to transfer ownership of this club from myself to a corporation that I own, another LLC. Again, reason is because if I own it, the way that taxation works is I earn money, then I would spend it on paying for this club, and then I would keep whatever is left. Whereas, I earn money, then taxes get taken out, and then whatever's left I would spend on a vacation club. Whereas if I own it through a corporation, then I earn money, then I pay for the club, and then at the very end, only what's left over will pay taxes, in which case, usually nothing will be left over. So again, moving everything I can into a corporation to be able to save taxes or not even have to pay any taxes at all. Excuse me. So that's what I'm going to be doing in the morning. Then we have class, probably until 5. Then our flight leaves later in the evening. We may actually have a little bit of time tomorrow to kind of check out a little bit more of Vegas before we head out to the airport again. But then we have a red-eye flight, an overnight flight back home. Unfortunately, I can never sleep on planes, so I probably will not be able to fall asleep again. And then when I get home at 10 a.m., I have about 3 hours to unpack and then repack and then get on another plane and then fly out to Florida. And when I get to Florida, Orlando, we rent a car, and it's another hour and a half drive to Sebastian, which we should be at by about 1 a.m. So basically, I'm going to get up tomorrow at 8. Well, sorry, no, I have get up at 7 something. I have a meeting at 8:15 tomorrow. So my day with work starts tomorrow at 8:15. And then I don't actually get to sleep until not tomorrow, but the following day when I get to my hotel at like 1:30 in the morning. So like I said, it's going to be a long day, but whatever it takes. If it has to be, it's up to me, as JT says. So anyway, I'm going to hit the sack, get some sleep, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.